Regular words are not triggers. Get offline if you expect everything to be censored. Twitter is the worst for this. Earlier today I saw people talking about censoring words like food, FD. Are you kidding me? Your eating disorder is your own problem. Get therapy, get help, do something about it. I respect the struggle of having an eating disorder, but you can't expect people to censor anything related to food just to protect your own feelings from getting hurt. Another big one, r*pe. Rope. Ripe. The word is rape. It's something that none of us ever want to experience, and the consequences of it can leave people in absolutely terrible conditions. I respect that, but it's uncalled for to see people get blasted online for not censoring it from their simple tweet. There are plenty more, and when it comes down to it, I don't think any words should be censored unless it's a program directly aimed toward children. It's not up to everybody else to censor and reconsider what normal words they're allowed to use in order to prevent some random person with some sort of condition from getting triggered. I understand it's a struggle, but you have to find your own means to prevent it from happening. You can't expect the world to cater to your own specific problems. I think this is one of those opinions that really isn't that unpopular, but there is always a small minority that overrepresents themselves with extreme viewpoints on the internet. Also, WTF is censoring the word meant to do? If someone is triggered by the word rape, spelling it r*pe is still going to make them think of rape. You still know what word it is. That is actually not a trigger and not encouraged by people who advocate for trigger warning. It actually makes it harder to filter out topics you don't wish to read about. It's just posturing about how woke you are, as most of these things are. I'm not trying to downplay the seriousness of rape of anything, but WTF is the difference between r*pe and rape? What does putting an asterisk in the middle do? You know exactly what I mean, so why can't I just say it? Disagree on the regular words are not triggers. Anything can be a trigger. Trigger just means that a traumatized person has a strong emotional traumatic reaction to something like a word, smell, sound, etc. Traumatized people don't choose what they are triggered by. However, 100% agree with your eating disorder is your own problem and your trauma is your problem. It's reasonable to expect normal human decency. For instance, if you told someone please don't talk about XY in my presence and they deliberately text/email you about XY several times, but it's not reasonable to expect every online space to cater to your personal triggers, however legitimate they are for you personally. If you're triggered by people wearing red clothing, you can't expect people with red clothing to leave the bus once you get on it. The other day some lady lost her shit on me on a music festival Facebook group because I said something about weed, saying that I could have made her relapse because I didn't TW. Like, okay, sorry but no. Get off the internet. Especially on a music festival page. As a rape victim, it pisses me off when people censor the word, call it what it is. I'm not pissed off if they put like warning talk of rape or something like that though. The world went to shit when we all started caring about everyone's opinion. Both things that you mentioned can be huge triggers for me. But I agree with your opinion 1,00000%. It would be nice to live in a world without triggers, but it's not realistic. You can't hide from it, and it's not anyone else's responsibility. I feel like you fell for some grade A satire. No one wants to censor food. Most people aren't that ridiculous. I have been mistreated by various people and suffered sudden, uncontrollable, painful loss on multiple occasions, and it has resulted in me developing PTSD. I have triggers. I don't have individual words that trigger me, but I do have triggers nonetheless. If I get exposed to something I associate with the time in my life during which trauma occurred, I get flashbacks. It's never anyone's fault, as my triggers are oddly specific and there's no way of knowing what could trigger me, and to expect the world to walk on eggshells for me is fucking absurd. Honestly, the times I'm most intensely triggered are when I'm by myself. It's usually a song/show/video that does it. The real problem is people who type r**pe instead of the full word, because on platforms like Twitter, there's a specific option to filter out results that include certain words. So people who are actually triggered by seeing the word rape and have put forth the effort to take care of themselves end up being triggered by people who need to virtue signal to the world by needlessly self-censoring. Certain sensitive topics I think should be at least warned about. I don't want to read someone's detailed story of their sexual assault because of my history. If there's a TW at the beginning, then I can save my time. What about the word triggers? If you are so fragile that words on a computer screen offend you, then you are too fucking dumb to use the internet and need to leave it and never return. I completely agree with this. If you're someone who doesn't like what's being shown online, guess what? You have something called the power button. Log off and don't go online. The internet is not a right, it's a privilege. If you don't like what you're being offered, you have the fundamental freedom to deny it. I hate how we are censoring every little thing to cater to emotionally unstable individuals who can't help themselves. The best way to not get triggered by stuff on Twitter? Don't get on Twitter. I know. People need to grow a skin. If you genuinely have a trigger, it's important that your circle, family, friends, lovers, respect that, but this is what's fucked up about the internet. The world is not your circle. The world is something to be navigated. We are allowed to care about who we care about, and to suggest we need to care about every single person on the internet is ridiculous, needy, conceited, entitled, all the things that define this generation to older people and make them call us snowflakes. The internet has seriously made people forget what it means to mind your own fucking business, and I think this applies to schools and public places as well. Lots of people. Lots of different experiences. If you have a trigger, that is unfortunate and you have obviously been through some shit. Unfortunately, the world wasn't built to cater to you and you are going to have to use your brain to be creative and create a life that will work for you. The internet is not the place to do that. //st. A lot of them aren't offended, they're just looking for attention. Many of the woke crowd are actually mentally ill, lonely people with the emotional maturity of a child.